feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Critical baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
No, we hadn't changed our minds, guys. Greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. And welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online. And today, very proudly presented by I Help Consulting. How can I help you? If you own a business and you need to save money, I Help Consulting can help you do that. iHelpConsulting.com, owned by state of South Carolina resident and lifelong resident, Daniel Owens. He's the best. He sent me a very nice text yesterday congratulating us, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful person. So if you need to save some dough with whatever industry you're in, that's where you want to go. iHelpConsulting.com. Make sure you're chiming in today on the Share Healthcare chat lines. Should be a pretty fun afternoon. Follow us on social media as well if you haven't already. At JB and Goldwater, individually at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. Chad Holbrook's ahead at 12:10 today. The College of Charleston right now is projected in the postseason in college baseball. Hopefully they can keep steamrolling their way right through the CAA. So we'll talk to him about that and a few other things, no doubt about it. I'm not sure if you've heard, but Ronald Acuna is back. Cory McCartney will be here 12:30 or so today to talk about that and much more. I'm sure all these folks will want to talk to us about what we're doing as well. So we're going to try to keep it as much to sports as we can, but we know they'll certainly want to chime in. And then at 1:30 today, our final time with both Scott Glaze and Meredith Taylor to get into some golf, and really looking forward to that. Always look forward to speaking with Scotty, and always look forward to speaking with Meredith as well, who's got a good little thing going on herself. Hopefully she'll tell you about it today when she hops on the air with us, and maybe be able to help out some of you in the golf world in just a little, or whenever. It is the NFL, so we'll get through some of the NFL draft, so we'll get through some of the mock draft stuff later. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock, and so are we, I guess. Their projected number one overall pick, Darren, continues to be Trayvon Walker, the defensive end out of Georgia, maybe ahead of Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end out of Michigan. But some draft notes to get into, some college baseball to get into. So it should be certainly a fun day. And I'm really looking forward to Cory to talk about what Ronald Acuna Jr.'s return to Atlanta will mean. You know, he's got all the stats on that.
Oh, look, that's big news for Atlanta, especially with how well the Mets are playing. The Phillies are playing a little bit better now too. So big news. I'll say this. Allen Iverson was on Dan Patrick's show for almost 40 minutes, about an hour ago. It was it was in the 11 o'clock hour. It was a masterclass in interviewing from Dan Patrick. And for Iverson, it showed a side of him I didn't expect. I don't know how many people know that side of Allen Iverson, this kind of laid back, very conversational and joking Allen Iverson. He dropped a lot of good bits of knowledge, like his favorite basketball player growing up was Bobby Hurley. Of all guys, Bobby Hurley was Iverson's favorite. But if you didn't see it, and most of you didn't, go back and watch it. It's long and it's great.
Well, outside of just watching Allen Iverson on the court, my whole life growing up, basically. I've told you my Iverson story when I ran into him at the Harris Cherokee Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina. And he was playing 2 craps tables and got called out by the gambling floor dude that walks around. Or actually, it was a female. Don't be calling my name out like that. I thought, dude, I think everybody in here knows it's you. There's about 6 guys standing around you who are all 6'5" or larger, so that you're insulated, and you're just tossing money here, tossing money there.
Yeah, it wasn't that Allen Iverson that was interviewed. It was a normal 46-year-old dude just chopping it up with Dan Patrick, basically. I mean, I'm telling you'll appreciate it. I know a lot of folks in here probably aren't NBA fans, but back then may have been more so, like myself.
That was me. Yep.
You'll enjoy it, I promise.
Yeah, well, now I want to check it out. That you've said that. Yeah, I love the NBA growing up. I mean, who did not enjoy watching the Jordans of the world and the Allen Iversons of the world? I don't know. We don't have to get into all that, but yeah, I'm with you. So I'm glad you said that. I'll go check that out.
Yeah, it's good.
A little bit later on today while I'm cutting the grass. Maybe I'll just listen to it.
Yep.
While I'm putting around out there. Last night in baseball, and again, Chad Holbrook's ahead here in 4 minutes or so. Last night in baseball, Clemson whipped Wofford. They were not going to let the Terriers be the kings of the upstate, that's for sure. And they didn't just beat them. They punished them. 17-4, the final score at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, gave Wofford their 11th loss of the season. It also gave Clemson their 28th win of the season, Darren. And they got it going right now. They've got it going. They're 9-2 in their last 11 games, with series wins over Wake and Florida State and midweeks over Georgia and Wofford. That's a nice little resume that they've put together. How about this? In the last 3 games, Monty's offense has tallied 37 runs as well. And that's a good thing, we know. But it's a really good thing because of where they're headed this weekend. Louisville, Kentucky, who that's all they do is swing the bats. Pitching has been up and down for Coach Dan McDonald's Cardinals this year, but they've scored 43 runs in their last 4 games, Darren. They've kind of got it back together since they were swept at Florida State. I think they've won like 4 or 5 since that sweep. But I did some numbers this morning. You know, we're not done yet. Tomorrow might be our last show, but for now we're still working. Check this out, brother. In the ACC series, Louisville has scored 32 runs, 14 runs. That was the Florida State debacle. 24 runs, 31 runs, and 31 runs. That's like 10 runs a game in ACC games, right? Good thing, because their last 4 series, their pitching staff has not gotten it done. At Pitt, 20 runs given up. North Carolina, 26. Florida State, 27. NC State, 26. So what can you expect this weekend in Louisville? Probably a lot of plate touching by both offenses. I would
long
expect
games,
some fireworks. Yeah,
long games is what you can expect. That's the only. You're reading those off. I'm thinking, my God, if you're broadcasting those games, that thing is taking forever. I mean, every series is taking forever.
It very well could. It's going to be a huge series in the ACC for both Clemson and Louisville. South Carolina will open their weekend series tonight at 7:00 on the SEC network against the Alabama Crimson Tide. They Tide are 5-4 on the road in SEC play. You don't see that often in this league, so good for them, helping that as a sweep at Ole Miss. And Mike Bianco might be, unfortunately, in a little bit of trouble over there with what's happened this year to the Rebels. Carolina all-time is 37-30 in the series, but they did lose the last one they played last year in Hoover. I can't even remember the score of the game. Who cares? They lost. The last time, though, that Alabama won a series in Columbia, that was back in 2006. It's been a while, 16 years since they have rolled into the Midlands and taken down the Gamecocks. So we'll see what Coach Kingston and his crew can do this weekend, trying to get back on the winning side of things and maybe pay back the entire state of Alabama a little bit after they were swept on the Plains last weekend. But not a lot of sweeps are happening against the College of Charleston these days. They are atop the CAA standings, and atop the program is this man, the head baseball coach, Chad Holbrook. Hey, bud.
Hey, Jamie, how you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're good. We're good. Just, you obviously know what's happening tomorrow, so we're just rolling right towards it and trying to enjoy the next couple of days.
Well, I mean, I'm I don't know. I'm not good at discussing things like this or the ends of things. I'm not good at it. I thank the world of you guys and all that you've done for our sport and obviously local sports in general. But more important than that, the friendships that we've had, and we go way back. And I guess selfishly, the good thing for me is I know I can call you when we can talk sports or music or guitars or whatever we want to talk about as we go forward. But not being able to come on your show and talk to the masses and talk to your followers and that stings a little bit. But I know it's all for the best. And congratulations on what's in front of you.
Well, I really appreciate that. That you and your family, personally speaking, mean a lot to me, and I am looking forward to that. Not that we couldn't do it before, Coach, but I'm like you, man. I think everybody looks at Chad Holbrook as Chad Holbrook, the baseball coach. They look at Darren and I as just a couple of media dudes. That's what people see, but they don't understand that like my secret real passion is music. But I'm like every Friday morning on Apple Music, what songs have been released and where's Eric Church today and stuff like that. That's the fun stuff. So let's do that sometime.
Jobs don't define you, right?
No.
I mean, we all know that. I mean, it's what you do when you're doing it. It's not who you are.
That's right.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. And and that's and I had a talk with one of my players yesterday, and it's been scuffling a little bit and having a tough time. And baseball, sports in general is such a very small part of life, and sometimes we get wrapped up into it, and because we all care and we all we follow a certain team or we're big fans of a certain team, or but at the end of the day, sports can be very insignificant, and there's a lot more to life that's going on outside of sports than what's going on in it. And to be honest with you, there's some very, very important things outside of sports that goes on in life. And one being a dad, or being a mom, or being a teacher, or giving back to the community, or living life. I mean, you can't do baseball all the time. You can't do football all the time. I think there's some more important things that the good Lord put us on this earth to do, other than go outside and have a good time and kick the ball around. Maybe there's some more important things we can do. But sometimes, we lose sight of that. And but I can tell you, so what's going on with my family, and I'm sure yours, Jamie, that is, we've been able to put it in perspective, because we've been rocked with a few things with our young ones. And when I lost my job at South Carolina, it wasn't the end of the world for me, because honestly, I slept like a baby that night. I still remember it, because I knew I had my two boys and my beautiful wife beside me, and we were going to be all right. At the end of the day, it's very insignificant. We have fun doing it, but very small part of what we hope to accomplish as human beings while the time we have on this earth.
Yeah, there's no question. I think about you often. I mean, shoot, I remember after our kids were born with what they were going through, you were one of the first people I called just to let you know, because I don't know what you went through at all, but we know of what you went through clearly, and that's always meant a lot to me. And just Jennifer, watching how your wife's always got your back, that's always been neat to see. And because I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've talked to a lot of coaches' wives, Coach, but they go through a lot too. I mean, you're not home much. You're recruiting, you're coaching, you're at the field, right. You're doing all these things, and they're the rock behind you. And I can't, just personally speaking, not even remotely close to the same level. How many times it's been 7 o'clock at night and my kids, wanting to read a book or something, but something's just broken, and here I am trying to scuffle around and get all the news together so I don't miss it for the show tomorrow. I'm over that. That's for sure. But the family thing's big.
No doubt. And I've been blessed, to have I think the best coach's wife I could ever ask for. I mean, she's what she's done with my two kids has been incredible while I'm away, and she lives and dies with every pitch too. And that's the one thing the public don't often see. It's excruciating for them. To watch, their husbands' teams or their kids' teams play a game that's of consequence, and especially when they can't be there and they have to follow it on the phone or something like that. It's they go through a lot too. But it's kind of cool if you can get to a point. And I guess I've been in coaching now some 20-some years. Oh my goodness gracious! It's just, years have piled up. The years have piled up. But you know, the good thing about it, I learned, and I didn't know this my first 10 years. I could not do it my first 10 years. But what I learned to do, even when I was at South Carolina, is when I walk in that door, yeah, I'm not a baseball coach, and then when I ain't going to talk about it, and you know, I'm not going to discuss who had a good game that day or who had a good practice, and that'll take away from the relationship that I have with my kids or my wife if I bring my job home with me, and that's tough to do. I mean, it took me some years to do it, but I can tell you this: being a family man and being a dad, that trumps anything in life the sport can bring. And I've been at the top of the mountain. I've got to see that last out in the national championship game. And while euphoric that was, and I'm proud of it as I can possibly be, it doesn't compare even close with being a dad or a husband or or being part of a family. And you know, and that's what you're going to get. I mean, you know, that's why we're all blessed. You know, and just fortunate to call you a friend. And
Yes,
I know what's in front of you is going to be incredibly awesome for you and your family as well.
I hope so. If I don't have a couple listings soon, I might be calling you to rent a room.
Bullpen catcher.
Carry.
I don't know if I can rent. I don't know if I can rent. I don't got many rooms, but we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
No,
We'll figure it out. You know?
Darren, I ain't bullpen catching for anybody. Those days are long gone. I can't even get out of bed in the morning.
You be my camp coordinator. You're my summer camp coordinator. I'll put you out there in this Charleston heat, and we'll go to work. You know, coach little kids all day long, go to Windjammer and listen to music at night. Man, it could be worse.
All right, you got a deal. You hooked me with the jammer piece. I'm in now. Well, this is after Coach. And I know we want to talk about your baseball team. That was the main reason we brought you on. But after Mike got drafted, Mike Cisco, it was the so it had to be January because they left to go to spring training in early February. So it was that following January, and Mike called me and he said, "Hey, you meet me down at the field." Of course, we were back home living in Mount Pleasant, and I said our old field at Wando, our old Wando field right there on Whipple Road. And I said, for what? And he said, "I need to throw a bullpen." I said, "Yeah, dude, I don't catch you anymore." And I need to, whatever. So he had been kind of working out and tossing with Jeff. Obviously, all the Ciscos, and and Drew, but he wanted to throw a bullpen, and none of them wanted to catch him. So I said, "Well, Mike, I haven't caught in 3 years." All right. So I get out there, and I thought that this is my best friend. I'm going to get him going. Man, that thing lasted until almost the end of his career in 2014. And dude, I could never get out of it. I never had the heart to say no. I don't know if he was lying to me or really didn't have anybody else to catch him. But it got to a point, I had kept my gear since college, and it was just kind of getting older, and I was getting braver. I'm not going to slap a cup on here and there, and then you get hit in the nuts. And after he went off to pro ball that final year, and then he ended up retiring, I told him, I said, "I swear to God, if your brother ever calls me to catch a bullpen, all of you're gone from my life, period." So that's the last bullpen I ever caught. And that's back when he was humping 95 and he had a good little cutter going and a change up that was dipping and diving in and out. And I'm like, man, some of these big league guys can't catch this. I know I can't anymore. So don't call me.
No fun.
No.
That's tough work. That's tough work for sure. No one I admire on an athletic field more than I admire catchers.
Especially the bullpen guy. That guy never sees the field.
Man. Yeah, the guy that's never going to play but catches every bullpen. Good night. What a different
beat up anyway.
Oh yeah, man, no doubt. Well, I look forward to getting. I'm actually thinking about it, and I'll text you and let you know for sure. I'm thinking about trying to swing the kids by on Saturday since it's a 5:00 first pitch against Delaware this weekend. And that's good because my wife is originally from Delaware. She won't pull for them, but it'd be a neat little tie-in there. But I might hit you up for some tickets.
Yeah, anytime. You let me know. I'll take care of you for sure. Don't worry about that. So.
Well, are you going to win that game? You going to win Friday and Sunday too?
I don't know. I mean, we've played well in the league on the weekends. We've played well. We got a couple, we've navigated some potholes and in the league to win 13 of our first 15. We got 9 big ones left, and we're gonna have a challenge this weekend because we're battling a few injuries of our pitching staff, and it might be a weekend in which we have to give a couple guys some rest, and just because they're sore and beat up, and we want to have them for the tournament, because obviously, the tournament is very, very important in our league. But so that being said, we got our hands full with a veteran team in Delaware, and they've won their fair share in the league thus far, and they beat some pretty good teams. They have a win against Wilmington and should have won 2. Honestly, they were 90 feet away from winning the series against Wilmington, and they have some other good wins. They beat University of Maryland while they were in the top 25. So we'll have our hands full, and but we're playing at home, and I think we got some confidence going here, and hopefully we'll continue to play a good brand of ball.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that because I generally don't think of Delaware Blue Hen baseball as a very good program, but they beat Notre Dame earlier in the season. They went to Maryland and went up there. I guess they lost at Maryland, but they won at home. And you mentioned Wilmington. I mean, they've got some guys. What is they have arms? Is that what's going on? They got pitching up there, or what?
Well, they're older, and it's always the experience factor in college baseball is so old. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if it's talked about as much, but I can assure you those 23-year-olds and 24-year-olds, if you have a couple of those guys, they tend to play better than those 18 or 19-year-olds for some reason. It's just one of those things, and they are blessed with some older players, a veteran pitching staff. They throw strikes. They don't blow you away in regards to, even though they are talented, they're not going to blow you away on the pro metric system of major league ability. They just play a really good, solid brand of baseball, and those strikes, play defense, and that keeps you in all the games. And they found their way. They found a way to win their fair share. So it's we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to make them earn their hits, make them earn their runs, and not give them any free bases, and which we did last week at Elon. I mean, it's a hard place to go and hard place to play there, and we played a great brand of baseball up there, and we'll need to do that this weekend to win the series against Delaware.
Chad Holbrook, head baseball coach of the College of Charleston Cougars. All right, Coach. So, I mean, this isn't anything that you've never seen before. You're used to this, but I don't know how many of your guys are. They're the projections that are floating around out there have the Cougars in the tournament. As a matter of fact, they've got 2 teams from the state of South Carolina in the tournament, the College of Charleston and Wofford, who's had a pretty darn good season outside of getting beat up last night up in at Doug Kingsmore by Monty's Tigers. Have you had to have those conversations at all with your team? Do your players bring it up? And I asked that question. Me, I'm trying not to be rude or anything like that. It's just this group of kids probably hasn't had many opportunities to be talked about in that way just yet, and they're just getting used to it. And they should be. They've deserved it. But do you have those conversations with your team?
My approach is a little bit different. I'll be honest with you. And this is going to speak not toward the NCAA tournament. This is going to speak to the goals of our team. I've kind of talked to them a little bit about, hey, how meaningful it is to win the regular season conference championship. It's 24 games. We play every single team in our league. To me, that carries some weight. That's an impactful accomplishment, and that's one of our goals. And if you go through the regular season and you win your regular season champions of your league, that's a pretty darn good feather in your cap. And we play in the Colonial, and sometimes how we finished in the conference tournament, as you know, baseball can be a cruel sport, and you could have a bad day and your season be over. Because we might only get one bid out of our league for the NCAA tournament. So I've done the opposite of talking about the NCAA tournament. I've talked about, hey, we got 9 conference games left. Those are our 9 championship games. And if we find our way that we can win more than we lose in these 9 that we have left, we have a really good chance of of winning a conference championship here. And if we win the conference championship, the regular season, I can guarantee you as a coach, I know it's impactful. I think that going through 3 months of baseball against teams in your league, I think is more impactful than going through 4 days of a conference tournament. That's just to me. I'm a baseball guy. This is how I feel. And I know it might not be judged by the NCAA like that, but as a coach, you win the regular season. That's a meaningful accomplishment. And I told him, I said, we got 9 championship games left, and if we're number 1 in our league when these 24 are over, I can assure you your coach is going to buy you championship rings. You're playing for a ring, and that means something to the kids. And I hadn't even brought up the NCAA tournament because I want them focusing on the game that we have tomorrow. Because sometimes it's out of our control, honestly. I mean, we could run the table and the rest of the season and happen to have a bad day in the conference tournament and not get a bid. It's cruel, but it's the reality of postseason baseball. So let's enjoy our next game. And the last thing I wanted to do is focus on something that may or may not happen 4 or 6 weeks down the road, and we forget that we've got a very important game tomorrow night. And I'd rather win tomorrow night, and we'll worry about we'll worry about those NCAA tournament bids when they come calling. But let's play good tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, and it's always interesting to hear those responses because if you're a coach in the SEC, if you're a coach in the ACC, things like that, you're generally your teams are used to these type things. But a lot of them out there aren't, like Wofford right now, what they're going through up there. You wonder how many of those guys are scoreboard watching and looking at RPI and all this other junk that really shouldn't matter just yet. But you've been there before, so you know how to handle all that. That is for sure. Where do you feel
these kids haven't? The kids have it. They like to look and see where they stand nationally, and with all the media predictions and all that, it's right at their fingertips each and every day. So I don't think you can ignore it, but I do think it can distract you. And I think Wofford has put themselves in a great position. And Georgia Southern has put there's some mid majors that have really put themselves in a great position RPI wise with the way that they've played. And I don't think they have too much to worry about other than just try to finish strong. We might be forced to win our conference tournament, so I don't want to put that burden on our players. I want to try to win tomorrow, win this series, and try to be conference champions. And then when the tournament comes, let's do our best to win that thing too. And we'll enjoy all that comes with that. So it's different. It's different perspectives, and some coaches and some programs, you don't have to worry about the conference tournament really in the SEC per se. If you have a solid regular season, you don't have to worry about what happens in the conference tournament. I think we won the national championship at South Carolina 2 years in a row, and I think we went 1-4 in the conference tournament. So we went 0-2 in 2010, and I think we went 1-2 in 2011, and we were the last team standing. So sometimes those conference tournaments aren't as impactful as sometimes the media or the college baseball world makes it out to be.
No, they're not. And I mean, you know this thing well. I'm poking at my Gamecocks here, but they got a long history of not doing anything in Hoover and then being just fine outside of that.
Right.
Long before you showed up as an assistant or were there as the head coach. That's just outside of that 2004 year, which when they won the conference tournament, I remember thinking to myself, somebody's going to come along and say, well, you actually didn't win it, right? But no, they did. So,
well, I mean, I've been in that. I mean, the crazy thing about the SEC, because it's such a powerful league, you can go. I mean, there's been years where teams have gone to the conference tournament, and it's a big, huge event. I mean, it's there's a lot of tickets sold. It's media, crazy media. SEC Network does an incredible job. I mean, it's an event, and and you can come to games and there's 15,000, 16,000 people in the stands. If you get, LSU against Alabama or LSU against Auburn, or LSU against Mississippi State. I mean, it's humongous crowds, and but you can go to that tournament and some of the top teams won't even throw their best pitchers. I've seen it before, So it's a different animal in that at that level, because the SEC is so powerful. their coaches. There's some coaches that do everything. Like Tim Corbin, he's going to try to win that SEC tournament. He's going to throw his best guys. And there's some other teams that know they're a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed, and they're going to make sure their pitching is lined up for the next weekend in regional play and not really worry as much about the SEC tournament. So different coaches have different philosophies in regards to that.
Well, and it's so interesting because like you can't do that. If you're in the SoCon, if you're in the CAA, the Big South, I mean, the Sun Belt, pretty much any league out there outside of the, those top few leagues in the country, you can't do that. Like you've got to play to win that league because so many of them, they're not all one bid leagues. I know that, but you're a lot better off if you go win it, even if you won 40 games in the regular season.
Let me give you a dilemma here, and Jamie, think about this. I mean, this is very possible it could happen. So our last regular season game in the conference is on a Saturday. All right. And we have to win that Saturday game to be conference regular season champions. So, but the conference tournament starts Wednesday. So realistically, the guy that you pitch Saturday to win the championship, what's more important for that guy on that Saturday to pitch and you win that regular season championship, knowing that if he throws over 100 pitches and you win that regular season conference championship, he might not even get the chance to throw in the conference tournament? Or do you sit him on Saturday and the conference regular season championship becomes not as important to making sure he throws in the conference tournament? I mean, it's a heck of a dilemma. It could happen to our team in the next few weeks. I can go ahead and tell you what I'm going to try to do. We're going to try to win the conference regular season championship.
Right.
And but there's other folks that say, you know what, that we might only get one bid. I'm going to line it up for the conference tournament. And I don't think that's the wrong approach either. And I don't necessarily think mine's necessarily right, but that's what I'm going to do. I mean, because I think the regular season championship's an incredible accomplishment, and if you get a chance to win it, you should try to win it.
I hear the conversation more, maybe just because it's more on the national scene. I hear the conversation more for basketball that the tournament champ should not get the auto bid, that regular season. But it makes sense as I'm listening to you, and I've been around the game long enough. I mean, it makes more sense that college baseball goes that way because it's more encompassing of what the team is, having to use different guys and different roles and different nights.
Without question. And to this day, I don't understand why the conferences haven't done that, especially in this sport. I don't understand it. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's 24 games is more impactful and meaningful. Navigating 24 over 8 weekends is more impactful than navigating 4 games in 3 or 4 days. I mean, I don't really, and you're playing every single opponent. And and home, away, you're dealing with a lot. Your depth is getting challenged. Your bullpens are getting challenged. I mean, the whole your team from A to Z is getting challenged over the course of 24 games. And but it is what it is. This is how the rules are played now. But I can tell you, I mean, I think the regular season SEC champion, whoever wins the SEC, and they don't have to worry about the NCAA tournament. But I can tell you that, I mean, I've been on a team that got to celebrate winning an SEC regular season championship, and that bus ride is just as happy after winning that thing as it was winning a regional championship. And I mean, it's impactful because you've done it against the best, and you've done it over 30 games, and when you're in that battle against real, other great teams, which the SEC has, and you're on top, oh man, I mean, it's the sense of gratitude that you feel, is incredible. A sense of accomplishment is incredible. And, but still, the SEC tournament gets the automatic bid. All SEC tournament champion gets the automatic bid. I don't quite understand that.
No, I don't either, especially now that we're talking about it. I haven't even thought about that in quite some time. And it makes sense, too, because you could win a conference tournament by getting to Sunday, and whoever has gotten hot and lucked their way into the championship game literally has nothing left in the arsenal, and you're just going to bang them around the whole time anyways. But you take the regular season.
Well, look at this. Look at this too from an SEC standpoint. I know we're getting away from talking about my team, but it's they have playing games.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
let me. I was in those meetings, so I know why. I know why. The 9 seed versus the 12 seed and the 10 versus the 11 is a play-in game, so to speak. I think that's still how they do it. I know that you lose the first one. If you don't have a bye, you lose the first one, you're going home. Well, here, you don't know why that was done? I'll tell you why it was done. I'll tell you why it was done. It was done so those teams that finished in the middle of the pack didn't go 0-2 in the SEC, that they felt like that could damage their possibility of getting a bid. So if you just lost one game, that wasn't a huge detract. That wasn't a huge minus on the NCAA tournament resume field.
Wow.
But if you lost 2, going 0-2 in the tournament, and you're on the bubble, you might not get a bid. But if you go 0-1 and you're on the bubble, but you played pretty darn good through 30 games, so that it was put in to protect those teams in the middle of the pack. So my point is, that tournament was organized to protect the group of SEC baseball teams. It wasn't put in, so that in itself tells you it wasn't put in place to find a true SEC champion.
Yep.
So just my opinion. I mean, and I mean, I was in some of those meetings, so I kind of know. I know what the coaches were thinking, and rightfully so. I mean, if you finish 14-16 in the SEC, which that's not bad. I mean, considering how much parity is in that league and how good the teams are. But if you go 14-16 and you lose 2, you're out. If you go 14-16 and you just lose 1 game, you still are on the bubble and you still got a really good chance of getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just kind of my opinion on that.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you mentioned the 14-16. I think all time, at least in the Southeastern Conference, like 70% or something ridiculous of teams that finish 14-16 in the league are in the tournament. So to your point, if they go 0-1 and then they're 14-17, no harm, no foul. 14-18, that might be a bugaboo. So I hear it. I never. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that format was put in to protect people. It was put in because you didn't want to take just 8 teams, because 8 out of 14. I mean, there's some really good teams. You know what I mean? Number 9 and number 10 is probably really good in the SEC, and so they wanted to take more teams, but they didn't want those teams to get hugely penalized because of going 0-2 in the tournament, where you might face 2 teams in the top 15, and all of a sudden, like you said, all of a sudden you're 14-18, and it's not looked good upon by the NCAA tournament committee. So there's interesting things going on in college baseball, and I think I know you won't be on your show, but there might be some like earth-shattering or groundbreaking. Earth-shattering is not the right word. Groundbreaking growth in college baseball might be announced here in the coming weeks, and it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. I mean, it's going to be some totally new stuff in regards to our sport and other sports in the NCAA. Could be announced in the coming time in regards to roster size, scholarships, coaches, number of coaches you can have. There's a lot of things on the table that could drastically change college athletics here in the near future.
Well, we saw that, and I know we're pretty much running out of time with you, but that we can, Darren, we'll text Cory and just tell him we won't go to break. We'll get him in a second. But I did want to ask you about that, because I saw what you're talking about. Maybe basically unlimited scholarships, which clearly for baseball would eliminate that 11.7, the silliest rule in college athletics. And then the one thing that got me, Coach, which none of this is set in stone, and I know that they're going to have to come back and reform everything, but this unlimited coaches situation, like, how do you feel about that? I know I have an opinion. What is yours?
Well, with our sport in baseball, we need some more. We need another coach. I mean, the coach to ratio, the coach to player ratio is very, very. We got the worst one. We got the worst ratio when it comes to that. So who loses in that situation? The student athlete loses. So I think that's going to be addressed. I think we are going to have another baseball coach on staff real soon, or each school or each institution is going to have the option. I think it looks like it's going that way. I think that's great for our game. The unlimited scholarships, I'm not so sure it's going to be just as simple as unlimited. I think there might be there's no minimum of 25%, and you can spend your money however you want it. I still think there's going to be some type of limit in regards to amount of scholarships. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 11.7. I don't know if they're going to tweak it or change it. I have no idea. But I don't think they're going to. I think one of the things is going to be new is they're not going to tell you how to spend it. Right now you have to give each player that's on scholarship at least 25%. Back in the day when you were at South Carolina, there was probably some players that were on half a semester of books. That was Pullman's big. We got to give him books. I'm not going to give him books. That was his big scholarship package. But now you can't do that. And yeah, I mean it's. But then I worry about the basketball and the women's basketball and the men. I mean how the Title IX factor is going to be huge in all this new, the new legislation that's coming out. Because you can't. What happens in baseball has got to happen in softball. What happens in men's basketball is going to have to happen in women's basketball. And then finances are going to be, pulled in regards to each individual institution. So there's going to be a lot of things that transpire in regards to college athletics and what each individual institution can do. The thing that does scare me a little bit is it could widen the gap between a mid-major like us and a Power 5 school. That's the scary part. Yeah. But hopefully if it does that, there'll be other things that can be done for a mid-major school that makes it very, very, makes our sport very important. So that's over my pay grades, and I'm probably that's years off, but there's a number of, whenever there's change, there's pros and there's cons, and there's going to be differences. And, I don't think the recruiting calendar is another one that's going to be really big.
Yeah.
Right now we have a recruiting calendar, which there's times, this is not going to make any sense to you, but here's a rule that makes zero sense to me as a coach. Well, we don't have a lot of coaches, but the only time we can recruit is either when we're playing or the summer. But a lot of times in the fall, we can't recruit. So what I'm getting at is this. Because we have a recruiting calendar, we have coaches that have to miss games and practices. Right. So actually our coaching ratio becomes smaller than it actually is because they're having to be on the road recruiting away from our players. Mm-hmm. Whereas in December and January, when we're not practicing, we're not allowed to recruit. How's that make sense? You know what I mean? So not only do we have a crappy ratio between coach and player in regards to numbers, a lot of times we make it even smaller because we have to go out and recruit. But we're also told we can't recruit when we're not practicing. So there's those things that just don't make sense, and I hope it's getting ready to be addressed.
Well, I hope it is. And Nick Saban hit the nail on the head not too long ago. He said our problems at Alabama are a little bit different than the problems at Middle Tennessee State, and they need to address that. I don't know where it's all headed, Coach, but hopefully it's headed somewhere that's good and not falling off a cliff, because you never know with the NCAA. We're all aware. Well, hey, look, you got 14 games left in the regular season, so do me a favor and win all of those. That'll get you to 40. And then you can worry about that conference tournament when you get there, but hopefully by that time you won't need to be dancing here before long. And
we're excited about the position that we've put ourselves in, and hopefully we can finish at the top of our league and play our best baseball down the stretch. If we do, everything else will take care of itself. But it's been a really fun group to have and to be around. And I got great kids, and I'm awfully lucky to be able to get on the field with them each and every day. So we're lucky around here at the college, and awfully blessed that we got a good group of youngins that go out there and give it their best. It's kind of fun to watch them play.
Right now, you got a 3.5 game lead in the league and the most wins overall. You're the best team in the CAA thus far here as we round out the month of April. Well, Coach, I'll be in touch with you very soon. It has been the pleasure of a lifetime to be able to talk to you on the air for the last 7 years. I've known you for, I think, 13 years right after you got to South Carolina, and you and your family are very high on my list. So personally speaking, thank you for making time to speak with Darren and I before we get out of here tomorrow for good. It has meant a lot, and go Cougars. We're pulling for you.
Well, thanks so much. And thank you and Darren for having me. And again, promoting our teams and promoting our sport. It's been very impactful, and I'm blessed to call you friends. And And the good news is that friendship's going to continue on long after I'm either coaching or you're on the air. So we're going to be good, and we're going to stand tall regardless. All right. So appreciate all, and y'all fought the good fight and did a hell of a job, and congratulations.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach. Take care, man.
All right. Thank y'all.
See you.
There you go. Chad Holbrook, the head baseball coach of the College of Charleston Cougars, and he is special. We're not even going to hit a timeout. We'll call Cory McCartney here in just a minute and have him jump in. Ronald Acuna Jr. returns today in Atlanta. In addition to that, you may have seen me look away for a second here or there. I was communicating with our friends in Columbia, and we were hoping to do this tomorrow, but he can't do it tomorrow, so we're going to do it in 30 minutes. We'll be joined by South Carolina head football coach Shane Beamer, and he'll pop in with us for a little bit right after Cory gets done. And then when he's done, we'll get Meredith Taylor and Scott Glaze, and when then they get done, I'm going to take a nap. So Shane will be here at 1:15 for the Gamecock fans. If you'd like to listen to him for a couple of minutes, we are not going to make this all about us or anything like that. But
Beamer Beamer obviously likes us enough that he's just going to ram his way into the show. Make us adjust on the fly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's cool with me though. But Shane knows dang well that I just want to sit there and talk Carolina football. So hopefully he'll do that. Do we have Cory yet?
We do.
All right, sweet. Cory McCartney, the best Brave I know. We'll be watching intently later on this evening as Ronald Acuna Jr. makes his return to Atlanta for the first time, I think, since last July. Cory, what's up, man?
So I thought I was supposed to come on here and sing "Boys to Men" End of the road. Although we've come to the end of the road. There you go.
No. Keep going, man. The floor's yours.
No, so you get a little teary-eyed, and although if I ever am going to need housing in the Columbia area, at least I know where to go.
I can take care of you. Anything you need, but that's at the bottom of my list right now. It's coming to an end. So I started thinking about all this stuff. And the first time I met you was through Kyle Bailey when he and I had our morning show 7 years ago. And you started coming on and we struck up this friendship. And I never wanted to let you go. So I drug you with me to ESPN and the afternoons and drug you over here. I know Darren's excited about that. He loves when you're on.
You're good, man. I mean, I've been in the media biz a long time. I'm happy to get out. You're good. So it's fun talking to you.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. It's just I always enjoy talking with Jamie and gonna definitely miss him. But again, if you, for all your housing needs in the Charleston area,
I'm going to hire you.
You got to be like Phil Dunphy, and have your name on the benches and all that stuff. And,
yeah. Yeah, I know.
I'm glad I live far enough away from that area then, if that's going to happen.
We'll put them in the urinals. Oh, man. Well, Cory, thank you, man. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate all your work. You are just, you're such a pro and you're so classy and so good at it. And I'm going to miss these. There's no doubt about that. We love having you on. But it is neat that we get to, for the last time, do this with Ronald Acuna Jr. returning. So as we depart, he returns. The world will be fine.
There you go. Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised. I say I'm surprised he's coming back, but I probably shouldn't be surprised. We were before yesterday's game against the Cubs. We were with Brian Snicker before the game, and he was saying, well, all right, the plan is he's going to go up and play 9 innings today, and then we'll see how he does tomorrow playing again, and see, that'll be his first test of back-to-back games. But the writing was all kind of on the wall. Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves GM, was up in Gwinnett to watch him. Obviously news came yesterday of Eddie Rosario's procedure, the eye procedure that he had done, that he's going to miss 8 to 12 weeks. The team just has not looked very impressive overall offensively. They're 29th in outfield WAR right now, hitting 25% below league average. The DH spot has 29th in WAR. They've hit just 1 home run. So I think, when you looked at all these variables and then losing Rosario for a period of time, it was like, yeah, it's no surprise that this guy, at his age and what he's already shown them in just 6, games here playing in a rehab assignment, that they're bringing him back already. I mean, why have him thriving in Gwinnett if you're going to do it with kind of kid gloves a little bit? Just get him down to Atlanta, and obviously they're going to get to do that today against the Cubs.
Yeah, what are you most excited or interested in seeing with this return? Because it's not, I get it. He's Ronald Acuna Jr., the player. He's elite. We know all that. But, since the season was basically cranking up, you got wind of this strange little beef between him and Freddie Freeman, which I don't even know if anybody still knows the truth in that. I mean, we know he's going to be welcomed and received. He seems confident and ready to go. But, is there anything outside of just, he's back in the lineup that you are most interested in watching with him? He's one of the leaders in this organization now.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely there's just the energy that he brings, right? And I'm wondering, and I'm really interested, too, to see. I mean, we know, obviously, Rosario is going to be out for up to 3 months, but we're going to get a little bit more of the optimum version of what this offense is supposed to look like, right? I mean, you're going to have him at that leadoff spot, and now Marcell Ozuna, who, is, I mean, the guy's got a Gold Glove on his resume, but these last few years he's been a liability in the field. You see when he's in left field and a ball hits a shallow left and there's a runner on third, they're waving that guy home because no one's scared of that arm at all. But now you've got Travis Demeritte, who's come up, and he's going to see a little bit more time in a corner spot. You'll have in left, and you'll have Acuna in right, and Marcell Ozuna largely getting those ABs at the DH spot. And I mentioned they've hit 1 home run for the designated hitter, and they were a team that, when you look at it on paper, was going to benefit from the addition of the DH in the National League when fully healthy, and we're finally going to get some glimpse of that tonight when they take on the Cubs with Acuna in the lineup.
Let me make sure I'm right about this too. So they're going to see Drew Smyly tonight. Well, they know him well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And he's given up some home runs in Truist Park. So I think Ronald Jr. would no doubt like to add to that.
Yeah, I think he'd be just fine with that. So I had somebody text me 2 days ago, just talking about stuff, and I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'd be better if these damn Braves would put it together." I said, "Do I need to remind you again that it's April? Last year they figured it out in July. They won the whole dadgum thing." With that said, through, I think tonight's their 20th game of the year. What is most, if there is something, most concerning thus far with the Braves, and maybe something that has surprised you the most?
So I think the concerning thing has just been kind of the inconsistency of this offense. But I think, I'm not saying that Acuna is going to come in and solve all those problems, but I think, when you look at a team that's right now minus 15 in run differential, I think just having, the lineup be a little bit more lengthened and have some bigger threats throughout the lineup, I think is only going to benefit things. So while I'm concerned about that, I'm not saying he's going to solve everything, but certainly he's going to be a big part of the solution. One of the biggest surprises is I actually had a story go up on this on Battery Power today. I talked to Kyle Wright for a while yesterday, and to me, he's been one of the biggest surprises. And we obviously saw him last year in the World Series. He comes in with the bases loaded in the first inning, goes 4 2/3 innings against the Astros, allows 1 run, and he's used that outing as a real springboard. Now, he says that's not all of it. I mean, obviously, when he was in Gwinnett last year, he felt like he was trying to fine-tune some things, go back. He actually went back to his college video and the stuff from his first year in the pros and really broke down mechanically some things that were off. So he's fine-tuned that, and he started really using that curveball. That's been a big point of emphasis for him. He said he's using it at more than any point in his career. He's throwing it more than he's throwing his four-seam fastball. So to me, we had questions about the back end of that rotation, and were they going to be able to hold things up? Kyle Wright, playing to the point he is now, he's second in the majors in ERA right now. He's the only pitcher in baseball in the top 10 in K rate, WAR, and ERA. The only starter in all of baseball. So to have that coming out of Kyle Wright right now is a massive surprise for this team.
Wow. Yeah, that is unbelievable. But he pitched at Vanderbilt, right? So
yeah, and again, he told me he went back and watched those Vanderbilt tapes because that's he said those Vanderbilt days in his first year in the pros, which I think it kind of bleeds over to when he got drafted, was in rookie ball and high A. That was the last time he said he felt like himself. And that was back in 2017. That's how long it's been since Kyle Wright's really felt locked in.
Wow. Holy moly! Hey, speaking of Vanderbilt, is Pedro Alvarez still playing baseball?
I think he just got released, right? I'm pretty sure he just got released this week.
Oh, I haven't even thought about it literally till that we just started talking about Vanderbilt. I remember, Cory, do you remember him when he was at Vandy?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he was a big leaguer in a Commodores uniform, and he acted like it. And I don't mean that derogatory, like he was a bad person, but he was one of those guys. He was just like Smoke was. I mean, Smoke did the same thing at Carolina. But I remember asking Smoke I called him one summer. He was on Team USA. I didn't even know who was on Team USA. I had no idea. And they were up in Cary, I think, playing. And he answers the phone and says, "Yeah, what's up?" And I said, "How you doing?" "Good, sitting down to eat with Pedro." I was like, "Who's Pedro?" Alvarez. I said, okay, I'm sorry, big leaguer. I'll call you back another time.
The answer was actually Diaz. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Pedro Baez. But yeah, Pedro Alvarez. Not. I don't think he's around anymore.
He's not. No,
dude.
That was minor league contract in back in 19.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, he got released in 19. He's been out of the game for 3 years.
Hang on. Yeah, not only that. Here's a story from February. I believe I think he's on the Brewers staff doing something.
Wow. Interesting. Man, watching him swing sometimes made me throw my back out. I mean, he had a tank of a swing at times, especially when he was looking for something. He just let it all hang out there. And anyways, whatever, cares. Sorry, I'm just spinning off into no land here.
Yeah, working for the Brewers in some capacity, player development.
Gotcha. Yep. All right. Well, there you go. 229 is the team batting average for Atlanta. That obviously is expected to tick up now since Ronald Acuna is back, not just because Ronald Acuna is going to swing the bat well, but he's going to provide a lot of insulation in that lineup for those around him, Cory. But I feel like this happens every year in Atlanta. You get a few weeks into the season, you look around and you go, man, there's a lot of dudes there that can really, mash, but they're not. But maybe that's their thing, and they're going to go win the World Series again. I don't know, but they're only hitting 230. That's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, so they're going tonight to try to win their first series of the season. And even though last year we were looking at it and saying, man, they didn't really get to 500 until, really deep in the season. To this point last year, they had won 4 series. And they're still looking for that first one right now. And, being 5.5 games behind a red-hot Mets team, I mean, everyone's waiting for the Mets to have that, other shoe drop. But I know the expanded postseason is going to kind of give you a little bit more of a leash in that way. But they've definitely got to get some consistency here figured out.
All right. Who's worse, the Nationals or the Reds?
I think wow, that's a good question.
It's a valid question.
I would honestly say the Nationals, because the Reds, at least they have Hunter Green, right? And they've got obviously Votto. You've got Jonathan India, the reigning National League Rookie of the Year. I know that the Nationals have arguably the best hitter in all of baseball, but it's hard to find. In Nelson Cruz is obviously it's fun watching that guy still at this stage do what he's doing. But there's not a lot else to be excited about with that team. At least the Reds, you feel like there's something for the future there beyond, just one guy like feel like it is.
And Soto's not even hitting.
No future in Washington.
Yeah. Soto's not even hitting. Patrick Corbin's ERA is $1 billion. I texted you the last time he was on the hill, and he's on the hill again in like 5 minutes. So that should be interesting. I still watch him. I don't even know why. We're 17 games in. And you know what I keep doing right now? I keep betting Soto to homer and the Nationals to win, because one of these days it's going to happen. And the odds keep getting longer and longer as the days go by. One of these days.
So think about this. They are last in the majors in runs allowed at 107, and they're not the team. They're not the team that gave up 21 runs in a game.
And they haven't scored more than 3 runs in like a week.
Oh, God. Darren, you're getting buried, man.
Oh, they're bad. I'm telling you, it's bad for your health to watch the Nationals.
Well, what were they, 6-7? You look up, they're 6-14.
They haven't won in forever. That's why I've started to keep placing, like, sooner or later, this is going to hit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What is the – do you think that I'm asking both of y'all this question. Do y'all think the deepest league may be the National League West?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And you think it'll stay that way throughout the year?
I mean, I hope the Angels continue to play like this. I mean, what a treat it is watching Trout be on, a winning team right now. But Seattle, man, I've been high on the high on the Mariners, since they started making all these moves and getting Winkler and, just Eugenio Suarez, just all these guys they've been adding. I think that team is just an absolute blast. Julio Rodriguez. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch that team all year long.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What's the worst division in baseball?
Oh man, it's probably. Oh man, I want to say it's probably the NL Central, right?
The NL Central.
You got the NL Central because you still have we talked about the Reds. The Pirates aren't trying.
No,
I mean
the Brewers aren't doing anything.
Yeah, I think it is.
What about the AL Central though?
I mean, that's really interesting, right? I mean, the Twins, with Correa and that new look crew, the White Sox are not necessarily living up to expectations all the way right now, but they're going to eventually get that pitching staff healthy with, when Lance Lynn is back in the fold. The Indians. I mean, I think that I believe in the Tigers more than being a below 500 team. I think it could end up being a pretty fun race as we keep going.
So I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I just flipped to the Nationals. There's a graphic. They've allowed the first run in the last 7 games. They've scored 15 runs over the last 8 games. I think that was that number. I may have missed that one. And they've had a starter go 6+ once this year. This year.
Yeah. What's Soto's deal?
Good question.
Do you know? Does anybody know? I mean, how long is he tied in for?
Oh, I thought you meant what are his struggles at the plate.
No. I meant his contract. How long they have him under their control? Do y'all know? Off the top of your head?
It's 2 more, right? That's why they've started negotiating?
He's not a restricted free agent until after 2025. So you got 2 more years of ARB with him, and then he's got that final year.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. I'm gonna throw a couple rapid fires at you, and we're gonna let you go. Miggy's now over that 3,000. Cory, do you think this is his final year in baseball?
No, I think he sticks around one more year. I think they got a fun young team. Okay. I think he's going to stay around one more year.
All right. I think he's now over 600 doubles or something too. He's got 500 plus home runs, right? 600 plus doubles, 3,000 plus hits. Yeah.
On the 3 guys.
He is a first ballot, no brainer Hall of Famer. By the way, I was doing some research the other day on players who, as y'all know where I stand on some guys who should be in the Hall of Fame and aren't. You know who else should be? Gary Sheffield. Why is Gary Sheffield not a Hall of Famer? He's like an 8-time, 10-time All-Star too.
He was on that Mitchell report. I actually, oddly enough, I was doing some stuff with his son Christian this past weekend.
Okay.
He's got one son that's committed to Florida State, one who's at Georgetown, and another one who's one of the best 2026s in the country.
2026?
2026. And I asked him, I said, if your family were to play a Sandlot game against any other family in America, would you guys win? He's like, we'd be pretty good.
What about against the Guerreros or the Fielders?
But he's got all those guys. Then he's got older kids too, like, Gary Jr., you got Garrett, who played at West Georgia. That Sheffield crew is deep.
Yeah, they roll deep. Sheffield's. Watch out.
Of course.
All right, final question. Do the Braves go back-to-back this year? Because we're not going to have you on to celebrate it, so I'll just have to come see you.
No, that's not going to happen.
All right, well, I hope you're
right. He'll be back.
It'll be the Nationals. A late season push from the Nationals.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, you got a long ways to go, Darren. I wouldn't count yourselves out yet. You're not mathematically eliminated just yet. You got a few more months for that. Maybe.
But they might be
going this way. Yeah. Cory, we're having more fun with you today than anything because, it's the last time we're going to get to really do it. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, we can't thank you enough. You're not just a contributor or anything like that. You're a pro. but most importantly, you're a friend. And anything you ever need, not in real estate, just anything you ever need at all, you call Darren or call me. We'll be right there. You texted me this morning, said we'll have to go see her at church together. You don't have to ask me that question twice. So whenever he comes to Atlanta, I'll be there, and we'll get in the pit and the whole 9 yards and beat our chests and throw beer on people and things like that. But honestly, man, for the last 7 years, I have had so much fun in talking to you, but I think Darren would say the same thing. I have learned a lot.
Yep.
I learn so much every week from you, and it makes us better. You're a good dude. You're a good dad. You're a good husband. I know all that, and can't thank you enough, my friend. Let's stay in touch as much as we can.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I mean, best of luck to both of you. You know, if you guys ever need me, you guys ever get back in the fold, put on the headset again, let me know. I'll be right there.
Awesome.
Oh, absolutely. You'll be one of our first calls. There's no question. Thank you, Cory.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you.
There you go. Rory McCartney. He is a pros pro in hot Atlanta. We got a few pros on deck still. Coming up at a little bit after 1:30, or right around 1:30, Scott, Glaze, and Meredith Taylor will wrap us up this afternoon, but we're going to hit a quick timeout. When we return, the late addition to programming today, he's a guy you probably have heard of. It's the head football coach at the University of South Carolina, Shane Beamer. He's going to pop in for a few minutes. We're not going to keep him long. He's got recruiting and all kinds of things to do. But Steve Fink was the man to make sure this worked out for us. So we're going to get him in for a few minutes. Look forward to that. Don't go anywhere. The JB and Goldwater Show today brought to you by iHelp Consulting. We'll be right back.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity finance to new loan, subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And two others you probably don't think much about: stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
It's the best time of the year on the sports calendar, and there's no better place to soak it all in than your spring headquarters. Dog and Duck, with 3 area locations in Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. Until May, $5 pints of Wicked Weed Brews and Devil's Backbone, again, until May. Patio seating, happy hour daily, family bingo on Monday, the Duck Truck Double Burger every Wednesday, rib night on Friday. It's the place to be for the best wings in town, the best sports everywhere you look. Dog and Duck, 3 area locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure, medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit motleyrice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
Okay, what's going on today, huh? Anything to talk about?
All right, greetings and a good Monday afternoon. Greetings and a good Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. Greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, 110. Welcome back. The JB and Goldwater show on this final Thursday of our run. Tomorrow will be our last day, and we are definitely going to miss all of you. That's for sure. But still a little bit to get through between now and then. And we hope that none of you will go anywhere, and you'll tell everybody you know, come spend the next 50 minutes with us and spend 2 hours with us tomorrow. And we would really appreciate that. Shane Beamer will be on in just a few minutes. Darren will behind the scenes give him a quick jingle, and we will we'll bounce him in for a few minutes. We're not going to take up a bunch of his time today, but he will pop in for a little bit. And really excited to talk to him with spring practice now in the books. You got the draft tonight, so I'm anxious to get his thoughts on that. And in September they'll play football again. I'm not sure if anybody knew that, but September 3rd is when they'll play football again. So we're looking forward to all that. With that being said, with the draft tonight, and again, Shane coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So when Darren has him, he'll let us know. It's a 7:00. Well, yeah. Wait a second here. This whole promo of coverage starts at 7 p.m. Coverage started about a month ago. That's all that's on ESPN
too. Yeah, and it's around the clock. I'm going to say this. Of course, this is happening today. There's 2 days left of this show. The whole graphics on the back end of this has completely crashed on me. I can't load anything in. I make stuff every day, like individual for the day, but then I have backup stuff, like, if Shane Beamer comes on, I can't load anything in. I'd have to shut down the whole show, load it all up again. So, of course, that's happening. Hey, bon voyage.
Yeah, I mean, it knows, it knows what's coming. They're like, wait a second here. Tomorrow's it. Well, who cares then? I'm not working through the end of this deal. With that said, the final draft projections are out. Everybody's got them now. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and Harry every year comes up with a final draft projection to pass along to you. I've always personally kind of enjoyed Todd McShay. He's right sometimes, he's wrong sometimes, but generally he's in the vicinity. And Schefter and those guys, they do a pretty good job. But the final projections right now, at least for the first round, have nobody from this state in it. Not even Andrew Booth, according to Todd McShay, although he is on minute as a potential first rounder out of Clemson. But what it does have are 10 guys out of the SEC, 10 out of the Big Ten. 7 out of the Big Ten and 4 out of the ACC. All right. Now, how about this? They also, by the way, according to McShay, have Kenny Pickett moving up to 19 ahead of Malik Willis, going to Pittsburgh at 20. And the Saints would take Pickett at 19 via a trade with Philly to get him, which would be incredibly interesting. Now, how about this, Darren? There for the second, I got you. Yep. For the second year in a row, according to quote unquote projections, would be 0 players selected out of the Big 12. That had never happened before in the first round ever until last year. And then it would happen again this year if quote unquote projections are correct. So I don't know. But you know what? I don't care about that right now. It means a lot to me that guys like Steve Fink and Shane Beamer are so kind to us because in the grand scheme, we don't have anything to do with that football program up there outside of talking about it and trying to swat the wolves away at the door from time to time. But Steve Fink said he'd ask Shane if he could pop in, and Shane said yes. And he is on the phone now, and that means a lot to us, Coach Beamer. How are you?
I'm doing great. It didn't like hearing the news this morning about you guys, but I really appreciate you inviting me to be on with you today. It's an honor for me.
Well, it's an honor for us, man. I mean, you've been here for a couple of years. Anytime we've ever asked for anything, you stop what you're doing and you get on video or you hop on the phone, and you do that for everybody. I don't know how you sleep or if you sleep. Maybe you don't. But it means a lot because there are a lot of people that they'd love to listen to you talk every day. You're the head football coach at the University of South Carolina, and you're an amazing human being. But when you do that for us just on the fly, man, I don't even know how else to thank you. I mean, you've helped make our program since you've been at South Carolina, and that's huge for the fans and for us and everybody involved. We hope we've helped you in some way too.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you guys and all you've done for not just South Carolina football and talking about our program, but South Carolina sports in general and everything that you guys have done for the state of South Carolina. So certainly appreciate what you guys are about and happy to be with you today.
Now, look, before we let you go here in a few minutes, can I give you my thoughts on what you should do this season?
Please.
Specifically, play by play. I mean, first offensive
I need all the
snap.
help I can get.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Yes.
I mean, come on, Shane. I mean, aren't you reading the Twitters every day and the message? Everybody's going to tell you what to do. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I get on the message boards, get some X's and O's insight, thoughts on our offense, defense, special teams, and then that's how we put together the game plan each and every week.
I'm just so happy that you actually said that publicly because now there's a couple of dudes I've seen out there where I'm like, hey, man, you don't have to stay up till 3 a.m. putting these game plans together for them anymore. They're going to be able to figure this out.
Exactly.
You know, it's amazing how that works. What are you planning to do tonight? You, your staff, your team, are you going to have a get together or this weekend to hopefully hear some of your guys' names called in the draft?
No, we really won't. You know, this time right now is a busy time for our current team. They're in the middle of exams right now. So, I mean, they'll be watching the draft, but they'll also be in the middle of studying and getting ready for exams, hopefully. Our assistant coaches are on the road recruiting right now. This is a busy time for college football coaches because it's the spring evaluation period from a recruiting standpoint. So all of our coaches are out on the road recruiting. So none of our guys are really in Columbia anyway. So we'll all be tuned in to the draft, watching and supporting our guys that are a part of it, but nothing planned as a team just because it's not real feasible right now.
Well, Coach, since you mentioned recruiting, will you just tell us the 4 guys that are committed that you haven't announced yet, that nobody's announced yet? Do you mind doing that?
If the NCAA would allow me to, I certainly would. I'm not allowed to speak about them. And then certainly want to respect the wishes of the guys that are committed. They've got, days and I believe in the month of May coming up here over the next couple of weeks where they wanted to have a special announcement day. So certainly don't want to steal their thunder, but, excited about where we are from that standpoint and really optimistic about, a couple other guys out there right now that we feel good about going forward with in regards to the possibility of them becoming Gamecocks also.
Yeah, I'm being facetious, but you're killing it out there. I can only imagine what it's like this year, and this is no disrespect to last year at all, but you were just getting going with everything, and now you've gotten through the spring game. Y'all looked good. I bet you feel good about what you saw this year. You got to play an actual game. You got through the year with 7 wins, big ones. We've talked since then, I know, but the response, I'm sure, has been magnified to many different levels comparatively to maybe 12 or so months ago.
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, in so many ways from within our program, I know our players so much better. Our players know me so much better. They know what we expect as coaches. So you have a better idea. You know them better as players, but more importantly, you've gotten to know them on a deeper level as people as well. So that's different. Recruiting wise, you're exactly right. I mean, you guys remember last year at this time, I'd been the head coach at this point, I guess, for 5 months. And I had yet to have a recruit be able to come on campus because of the dead period that the NCAA enacted because of COVID. So the first time that we actually had face-to-face contact with a recruit in person was June 1st. So last year at this time, we're just trying to sell a vision of a new staff coming off a 2-win team over Zoom and over the phone. So now we've been able to have so many prospects on our campus since June 1st. They were able to come to football games last fall, and then through 15 practices during the spring that we just wrapped up, we had so many recruits on campus during those 15 practice days. So we're in a much different and much better place without a doubt than we were a year ago as a program in recruiting. Still got a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, but certainly we're in a much better place than we were last year. And last year wasn't bad. It was just different, obviously.
I still can't figure out how you navigated that. I mean, it's amazing what you did. I'm about to let you go, Coach. I know you have way more important things to get to. Just you mentioned recruiting, ballpark wise with camp and everything this summer. Like how many prospects do you think you'll host on campus? Ballpark.
Cool. Good question. Last year was just so crazy because last year it was literally every day in the month of June, starting June 1st, we had prospects on our campus. The only day that we did it was Father's Day because I said, don't bring anybody on campus. It's Father's Day. I'm going to Charleston. I'm spending the day in Charleston. So that's what we did. This year, I don't know I hope it'll be all 30 days. I don't know. But, we've got 2 big official visit weekends where we've got guys coming in on official visits. We got a bunch of camps, and then we've got a bunch of guys that'll be here unofficially. So it's hard to, it's hard to say. But if you figure, you're talking about well over 100, I'm sure, not counting just guys that are here for camps. But, so many players when they come on our campus, they all say, I didn't know it was this nice. And they're just blown away by the city of Columbia, our campus, our football facility, the people. So the more we can get there, the better for sure.
Well, I'm so excited about your football team, Coach, and I'll leave this final question to you before we tell you goodbye. And it's or not even really a question; it's more of a statement, but that you can respond to. I think one of the things that has been really, really interesting, and it's shut idiots like me up, and I'm saying that seriously. Your quarterback Spencer Rattler, your other quarterback Luke Doty, your other quarterback, Braden Davis. You've got some recruits out there, which I know you can't speak on the record about, but they have there's this collective, there's this collective voice between these QBs, good ones, who have been unbelievably complimentary of Marcus Satterfield, your offensive coordinator, and what he's designing and for your team and who he is behind the scenes, what he does, how much football he knows. And he's gotten a lot of heat, and you know that. And I'm one of the morons that have criticized him publicly. And what the hell do I know, Shane? I don't know anything. So that's one of the reasons I need to get out of this industry because I don't know enough, But
at least there was a competing voice on this show.
Yeah, you're right. And so I owe people an apology for that because I didn't know what I was doing, but I think that's great because you stood up to people after that bowl game and you said, look at the scoreboard. That's why Marcus Satterfield is our offensive coordinator at South Carolina. And you got all these QBs who are standing up saying, I like this cat. They know what they're doing here. I just wanted to get your response to that.
Yeah, well, when I said that after the bowl game, immediately it popped in my head. Well, as soon as we have a game where we scored 10 points, somebody's going to find that clip and play it again. That's just part of it. You guys know this from being around it so long. I mean, no one is happy with their offensive coordinator pretty much anywhere. I mean, they all think they can call plays better. And Marcus Satterfield will be the first to tell you that he's got to do a better job than what he did last season. We all do, he knows that he's going to be better this year as a coach, and I'll be better as a coach, and we all have to be better, but also I think it's important to not lose sight when you look at the big picture. I don't know of any offense in the country that started 4 different quarterbacks throughout the season like we did. Lost, our starting wide receiver halfway through the season in Jalen Brooks. Lost our starting offensive tackle third of the way into the season in Dylan Wanham. So we had some adversity that we faced and being a new staff, for sure. You just never had the continuity. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, multiple quarterbacks or not, some of the things that we did offensively that we just can't have. The Texas A&M game, some of the catastrophic plays that we had, the Missouri game, things like that. So we've certainly got to be more efficient. We've got to be more consistent. But also, our quarterbacks, they know what kind of coach Marcus is. I know what kind of coach Marcus is. I know how hard he works. I know how passionate he is. And last year was a great learning experience for all of us on how to be better, and myself included, and confident that we all will be going forward. But we've got a really good offensive staff, led by Marcus, and certainly, our quarterbacks. You mentioned Spencer, and all the quarterbacks that are returning, like Luke Doty. I mean, they believe in him, and Spencer. Obviously, I had a relationship with Spencer, but Spencer Rattler wasn't going to come to South Carolina to play football if he didn't have confidence and have belief in our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach to coach him and help prepare him for the next level either.
That's exactly right. And Coach, it's all under your leadership, and we're going to let you go because we told Steve 5 minutes. I do this every time with you, and then all of a sudden we look at the clock and go, "Oh, great!" So I hope you didn't lose any commitments or anything in the last 10 minutes. If you put it on my tab, if you did, I'll pay it off somewhere down the road. But
I don't think so. If we lost somebody in the last 5 minutes, we clearly weren't working hard enough doing the right stuff beforehand.
Well, look, it has meant a lot to Darren and myself for what you have done for us for the last couple of years. We're going to really miss being on the air. I'm a lifelong Gamecock. I think you know that, and have been very much invested in this program for a long time. And so personally speaking, it means a lot to me. I'm proud that you're the head coach here, and I know everybody that surrounds South Carolina football is as well. We wish you the best. I look forward to seeing you hopefully soon. If you do make it to Charleston, you let me know. Maybe you can come down for the Patrick Davis show in May, and we can have a beer or something out at the Windjammer. We won't tell anybody you're there. We'll sneak you in the back.
I hear you. Would love. No, I appreciate you saying that. Would love to connect with you, and you guys certainly keep in touch. If I can never do anything in Columbia, please let me know. And I mean that. I appreciate all that you guys have done, not just for South Carolina football, but for everyone that you've impacted and affected on the airwaves. And appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on. Going to miss you, but look forward to crossing paths soon.
Very kind, Shane. Go get him. Thank you, buddy.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
Shane Beamer, the head football coach at the University of South Carolina, literally dropping what he was doing to get on the air with us, and that's why I got long-winded there and trying to say thanks. Head football coaches don't do that, guys. I know another one in the state that ain't doing that. So that was really neat. We really appreciate him popping in, and I think they're going to be okay this year up in Columbia. My prediction will be out tomorrow that you can carry with you to September.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's going to be part of programming tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll come up with some ideas.
All right. It is what time is it? Okay. Yeah, perfect. Time for a break. It's 1:26, so we will hit our final time out of the afternoon, and then when we return, we'll get into some golf. Scott Glaze and Meredith Taylor will co-anchor this final segment with us on a beautiful Thursday here on the JB and Goldwater Show. Hopefully, you won't ever need legal help for a catastrophic injury or health issues from a medical drug or device. But if you or a loved one suffers injury or loss, Motley Rice LLC is a nationally recognized law firm that is right here in Mount Pleasant at 28 Ridgeside Boulevard. Thank you, Motley Rice, for sponsoring the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show. Visit motleyrice.com for more. motleyrice.com.
This is Mike Mcilroy for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right. We take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity finance to new loan, subject to lender approval.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
It's the best time of the year on the sports calendar, and there's no better place to soak it all in than your spring headquarters. Dog and Duck, with 3 area locations in Bell Hall, Park West, and Clemens Ferry Road. Until May, $5 pints of Wicked Weed Brews and Devil's Backbone. Again, until May. Patio seating, happy hour daily. Family bingo on Monday, the Duck Truck Double Burger every Wednesday, Rib Night on Friday. It's the place to be for the best wings in town, the best sports everywhere you look. Dog and Duck, 3 area locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clemens Ferry Road.
Hey, South Carolina, what's going on? This is Patrick Davis, and you are listening to my friends JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
1:30 on a Thursday afternoon. I've decided when I get off the air today that I'm going to cut the grass. So that'll be my exercise for the week.
for the week. That's a weekend thing. I wanted to warm up because I like doing it in the morning.
I did too.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I love it. Darren, I love cutting the grass in the heat in the summer. Isn't that strange?
But in the morning, not like stupid 1 o'clock, 105 degree.
Right. Yeah. Not when it's 400 degrees. Right. I like to get up in the morning. One day, hopefully, if things go our way around here, we'll have a pool in our backyard. Ooh. Then number one, that's less grass I'll have to cut. But number two, you just be able to jump in the pool. But I said if things go our way now. Right now, has anybody seen pool prices? Things ain't going our way. But we have the neighborhood pool, much like you. And so that's one of my favorites when it's June, July, August. Get up Saturday morning, cut the grass, get done by about 10 o'clock, and just take the golf cart down and cool off.
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
All right, I'm hearing noise somewhere. Hello.
Hello.
Right, there she is, Meredith Taylor, the former unbelievable 5-star golfer.
It wasn't 5-star. Let's get it straight. I was a walk-on, turned scholarship.
Oh, you're just like and it.
So was Jalen Foster. I'd say he's a 5-star.
Listen,
Georgia's quarterback. You just won a national championship.
That's admitted.
Yes, and every time I see those walk-on videos, I cry my eyes out because I'm like, that was me. I love those videos where they announce the walk-on is going on scholarship.
Yeah, I know. There's usually one like every year at every school, and I have to watch all of them.
I do too. You have to.
Oh man. Well, we're so glad to have you. And hopefully Scott has decided to actually be a part of our program and not say, "Out of hell with it, they're ending anyways. I'm out." He did
personally.
He did text me this morning and tell me that Smoke has been playing golf every day out at Stono Ferry. So,
really?
Yeah, he's going to get a phone call from me on that. I haven't gotten any invites that I'm aware of. I'll actually see him Sunday, so I'll wear him out on it then. But so Scott's my eyes and ears out on the course. Anybody that I know that's playing golf and hasn't invited me to play golf, I find out about it.
Hey, your boy is down under a 5 handicap. He's playing pretty good.
Let's
go,
I know.
Dude. Yeah. It is ridiculous. This cat. I mean, I'm not gonna. You know what I'm saying. You know Justin now. Like you're like, how do you do everything well? Because it's not all there. Like he's just one of those guys. He picks it up and he runs with it, and all of a sudden he's whipping everybody's rear end and whatever he's doing.
Which way
it comes easy to him?
Is he right or left-handed when he plays?
Right. Yeah.
What is he a switch hitter?
Yeah, he does everything right-handed, but throws left. I mean, he can hit left, obviously, but he throws left-handed. He actually started hitting right-handed when he was a kid. And then they were like, well, maybe you should I don't know, hit left-handed.
Well, he can go play these pro-ams now. I mean, more and more are like popping up. If he's under a 5, man, get out there.
Dude, he's a dude. Scott, have you gone out and watched him play at all, Scotty?
No, I've been on the range with him. He keeps joking around and that he needs some work on his game. He needs to schedule some lessons. But every time I see him hit the ball, it's going straight and it's going a long way.
It's a long way. I know. Dude, we played. It's the end of our show tomorrow, so I don't care. We played the morning of his wedding out at Charleston National, which has been like 12 years ago now. Different phase in our lives, And the night before, we spent a long time at Reds. And that morning, we woke up. Me and another guy woke up late and said, "Oh, we tee off in 30 minutes. Might want to get to Charleston National." We showed up. We got, how Charleston National is, Scott. You got to go all the way down through the neighborhood to get to the course, the first tee.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got to go down to get to the range, and then you got to come back to the first tee. So we got there, everything was set up for us, hopped in the cart, rode down to the range, and they said, "Well, what are your names?" And well, these are our names. They said, "Well, yeah, you were supposed to tee off 7 minutes ago." I said, "Well, can I just get a couple balls?" "No." Okay. So we rode back down to the first tee box. That starter was not happy. And I have no idea to this day how I did it. I was looking at 3, and I said, "Well, let me just hit the middle one here," after a long night at Reds, of course. And I hit the middle one, and I had no idea where it went until it landed about 5 seconds later on the tee box. Straight up and down. I picked it up, and we drove about 250 yards up, dropped it right in the middle of the fairway.
Nice.
So
do I need to worry about you being my partner when we have this match that we're going to do?
No, I'll be fine. I just won't go to Reds.
Please don't. I need you, partner.
What you want is Smoke to be your partner. Scotty will tell you he bangs it, man.
He should.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do y'all want to talk about? Do you want to talk about golf or volleyball? John Rahm's in the lead in Mexico.
I was about to ask if he's in the lead because there's nobody in this field.
All right.
I'm sure he is.
Hank Lee Boda's in it.
I mean, there are technically a few people actually in it. Yes.
Patrick Reed.
We can always talk about the U.S. Women's Open back in the day. Those were some good memories.
Yeah, I know, man. Well, we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Finau's down there. But, yeah, Rahm's in the lead. He's at 7 under. He's a shot ahead. There's a bunch at 6 under, actually. I know nothing about this is brand new, right? Isn't this a new event this year?
Yeah, and they've played the last few years at WGC down in Mexico. It's not the same thing. Great that a tournament is still in Mexico. This is a very weak field, less than 45 world ranking points, 45 official world golf ranking points, which means it's very weak. However, I got to get some stats in. John Rahm has played in a lot of very weak field events. Of this same caliber recently. He's played in 12 of them. He's won 4, and he's been top 5 2 other times. So it's almost a guarantee that he's going to have a really good week when the field is not that strong. But he should. He's number 2 player in the world, and he's playing a very very weak field by PGA Tour standards. But we just gearing up for a lot of big things down the road. This is a very popular off week for a lot of guys.
I feel like last week and this week are both popular off weeks, right? The PGA Tour season to me, and I will ask this to Meredith first, is kind of interesting because it's kind of a slow build, and then it's you feel like you're going through a nice little stretch run there, and then it almost like falls off the table for a while, but then it's okay, it never stops. It's just
then it's PGA Championship week, and everybody's back to form and trying to peak for the majors.
Yeah, but like do the players? Is that good for the players? Like, is that a good setup? Just kind of the way some of these popular events fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think so because if you got something to work on, you got some time to get it dialed in before a PGA Championship, and also these guys on these quote unquote off weeks, some of the guys that need to make a push, like the Jay Bird, South Carolina connection. He's playing well right now. a chance for those guys to shine in a tournament like this.
Jay Bird. Yeah, 2 of the next 6 events coming up. Rory McIlroy is the defending champion, and he clearly is somebody we've got our eyes on since what he did to wrap up the Masters, right? Spieth wins the RBC. Like, are both of those guys, Scott, now that we got the Wells Fargo next week, and then you're into the Byron Nelson, and then the PGA, and then on and on and on. Are those 2 guys, like, do we feel like they are kind of there now? Like, hey, 2022 – we'll see, but both of them could be major winners.
Yeah, it's good. The way the schedule has lined up is really good for both players that you talked about. Next week, we go to Wells Fargo up the road in Charlotte at Quail Hollow, which is a major championship golf course. The 2017 PGA was there that Justin Thomas won. The President's Cup this year is at Quail Hollow, so this fall. So we will have a lot of good players, especially Americans, playing next week, especially some maybe bubble guys that aren't guaranteed to be on that team that want to prove a good showing on the golf course for maybe if they need a captain's pick later in the year to be able to make the squad. Plus, it's a player favorite, this golf course and this tournament. It's also going to host some more PGA championships down the road, but Rory has the course record at Quail Hollow, won last year. This was his first victory on the PGA Tour, was back at Quail Hollow probably about 10 years, more than 10 years ago now. But so a lot of good vibes for Rory there. So that comes at a great part of the schedule for him. And then the next week we have the Byron Nelson tournament, which Jordan Spieth notoriously plays. That's where he played as an amateur. He got some sponsors invitations, played really well while he was still in high school. And coming off his victory at the Heritage, going to be a good tune-up, really good vibes for him in the Dallas area. Before then, the very next week, we go to the PGA Championship at Southern Hills. So for those guys, definitely 2 that you need to look out for, especially since we don't really know what we're going to get out of Southern Hills. I think we can have all sorts of different type of guys that can win out there. It's not really going to fit one particular player.
Can I ask a clarification question here? I just want to make sure that I haven't made a mistake somewhere in my studies. Darren and I will be off the air tomorrow, but I feel like I still got my game a little bit.
We'll be on tomorrow.
Is after tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. Is the Wells Fargo this year at Quail Hollow? I thought it was in Maryland.
Oh, no.
That's right.
You got me on that. Yep.
Okay.
That's right. We're having it at TPC Potomac because of the President's Cup.
I just wanted to, okay. I wasn't trying to call you out, Scotty. I just want to make sure that I was right.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that, and here's why this is awesome. I went to that course for the Kemper Open almost every year of my childhood. That's where my love of the game of golf grew. Yeah, I mean, the guys who are on the, what do they call it now, PGA Tour champions, those guys were all coming through every single year. That course is in Avenel. It's like 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up. We'd go every single year.
It used to be called TPC Avenel, and I just remember from a golf game on like Super Nintendo or something back in the day, that was one of the golf courses that you could play because, there's that annual PGA Tour stop up there. So, not quite the same. So you can just take back everything I said about
Man, good.
We'll see it in the fall for the President's Cup.
But you can be nostalgic for me watching it.
Right. Yes, yes.
Could you describe? I'm asking all of you here because Darren, you know the course. I know nothing about this course. No, really not much about Quail Hollow.
It's been forever now.
But all 3 of you, can you describe the differences in Quail Hollow and you said it's Avenel Farms? TPC at Avenel?
Yeah, that's the neighborhood, Avenel. TPC at Avenel. Or it might be called Potomac now, but
what are any of you could jump in and take the question. I don't even know how much, the difference it makes. I'm just curious as to, we know how Quail Hollow usually plays, right? And we know what the weather generally kind of can be down there, but how will all that factor in up there?
It's been forever since I've been there. I mean, the course must be at least somewhat different from when I saw it.
Yeah, it's different. And it's one of those golf courses, especially being in that TPC network, it's always kind of at the ready if they need it. And I know in 2017, the Wells Fargo was at Eagle Point. I'm drawing a blank there in Wilmington. It's going to be a really good golf course. Looking at it online, I think the reason that the PGA Tour just isn't there anymore is that the courses or the game and the tour has kind of outgrown it. It only stretches out to 7,100 yards, which is pretty short by PGA Tour standards. So it will be a lot different than Quail Hollow, which now stretches out pretty lengthy, probably about 7,600 yards. It's a big boy golf course. So it will be different just in regards to players having a lot of shorter clubs in the greens. We'll probably see lower scores next week than we typically would at Quail Hollow.
Are we with the Wells Fargo and the Byron Nelson? Like, do we expect those to be fairly full fields, especially with all of the players that, you know, the main guys in the sport, right, that we follow, with the PGA Championship right there behind it? Do we expect to see all the stars out there over the next couple of weeks, Meredith?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know.
I mean, outside of you, I know, but I mean, you've got other things to tend to.
Scotty, you probably know better than I do, but it's probably similar to prepping for the Masters. Some guys like to play the week before. Some guys like to take it off and go to the venue right before a major. So it just depends on the player and what they prefer prepping wise to prep for that major.
It works out really well this year that the Byron Nelson's right before the PGA, and the PGA is being held in Tulsa, and the Byron Nelson's in Dallas. So travel wise for a lot of people is going to be a lot easier, especially for your international players. So that's something to keep in mind. They're going to get a little more acclimated to the terrain in that part of the country. What is interesting about Southern Hills is that it underwent a major restoration since the last time we had a major championship there. Gil Hance came in, restored it to its original Perry Maxwell attributes and characteristics and whatnot. So it should be a really, really good major championship test. And it's going to be fun because it's a place that no one really has an advantage on. The last time a major championship was there, I believe, was 2007 when Tiger won the PGA. So now we're talking about 15 years ago. And so, you know, Tiger may play, but he still is not in the form that we've seen. So it's not the same as, in my eyes, it's not the same as preparing for something like the Masters, where you know exactly what you're going to get. So if you take off a week or two prior, you can really kind of gear up for certain shots that you have to hit. It's going to be something that the guys are going to figure out. A lot of guys are going to figure out either Sunday or Monday.
So the Open Championship is July 14th through 17th at St. Andrews. Tiger is committed to that, but he hasn't committed to anything before that. When do we expect, or when would you speculate that we would hear? I'm assuming he's going to release something as to whether he plays in the PGA Championship, right? And if so,
he'll have to, because he's currently listed. Him and Mickelson are both currently listed in that field.
Okay, so yeah, he'll have to make a statement. When do we expect to hear this statement? Sooner? Oh.
Well, you know, you guys, we're not going to be able to talk to you guys as we.
We can. I mean, you can call me and we'll talk.
You got our number, yeah.
But to be on the record, I'm going to say that we see Tiger in the PGA and we see him in the U.S. Open. And it could be much like we saw at the Masters, where we're not really expecting much from Tiger. And Tiger's getting his reps. And I say that because I think the Masters proved a lot to Tiger, proved that he can get around for 4 rounds in a major championship. He knows what he needs to work on. And I think Tiger feels like he can win the Open Championship because it's at St. Andrews, a place where he has dominated before. We see the most parity in the Open Championship. Really anybody can go win it. And I think especially the fact that he said that in April at the Masters, I think he thinks he's got a great shot to win the Open Championship this year. And so, yeah, I think we will see him kind of sharpening his tools, so to speak, at these major championships before we get
for the Open.
Mm-hmm.
That is so strange. Like does that Meredith? It doesn't make sense, does it? Like you see Tiger historically go out and play in pretty like next weekend, for instance, the Wells Fargo or whatever. He wins some. He used to win all of them, but he'd win one here or there. He's just sharpening the tools, and he's gearing up to go out and knock it out in all 4 majors, trying to break that record. But now where he is, he's like, all right, well, I am going to play golf this year.
Right.
The Masters is going to be about proving I can actually do it, and then maybe we use the next 2 to actually go try to win one overseas at the Open.
And the Masters was also the greatest test when it comes to walking that you're going to see on the PGA Tour, period. If you can walk that golf course and you do it all 4 days, and that was kind of, to me, okay, now I can go for Tiger. And that's why I think he was confident to say, yeah, I'm going to be at St. Andrews. That's a flat golf course. I know it. It's my favorite golf course on the planet. And everything in between, who knows? I mean, it's up to, he's got the best doctors in the world, the best physios. So I don't doubt that he's going to be ready for the majors, as well as he's got his eyes set on St. Andrews. And how crazy would that be?
Oh,
be nuts. He better hope the weather cooperates. If it's a miserable, rainy, cold, typical, I don't know how you picture the British. Yeah, that's not going to work.
Well, it's another golf course, much like Augusta National. You have to play a few times and get the nuances of it. So Tiger has that to his advantage. It's going to be the easiest walk of any, as Meredith said, any golf course. And I think just if you like the kind of feel good things that give you goosebumps, it's the 150th Open, and it's at the home of golf. And we could potentially have this second huge major comeback story from arguably the greatest to ever play to win the 150th Open. I mean, that's a hell of a story.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that'd be a movie.
Yeah.
Well, everything has been a movie thus far. I mean, this would just be,
Yeah, I mean, there'd be nothing about that short of come on, but if anybody's going to do it, it'd be Tiger. I mean, just like we said the other day, Darren, with Raphael last Friday, they in our lifetimes, there are certain things in sports that we're absolutely can't miss. Mike Tyson, when he fought when I was young, you canceled all plans when Mike Tyson was fighting. You watched it.
Right.
Tiger on Sunday when he's in it. You watch it. Jordan in the NBA Finals. You watch it. By the way, just off the record here, not that y'all care, I'll add another one to that list. You want to know what was for 12 years can't miss for me? Actually, I'd say the last 4 and then 8. Michael Phelps, when he was in the Olympics, I stopped everything I did and watched him swim. It didn't matter what you were doing. Like, you even had plans. Phelps was swimming, period, the end. We're watching him.
Yeah.
We had quick story about Michael Phelps of just how you stopped and watched. I was in college that year that he, had his just unbelievable year. And we were actually hosting like a keg party at our house and had all these people over, and everyone stopped. This is like, we're 20 years old, 19. So anywhere from 18 to 21, 22-year-olds. And I guess it was over in China, wherever it was on at night, and everybody stopped to watch Phelps swim for whatever it was. It was a record race that he was going for. And, people chanting like USA and stuff like that. It's amazing, like those athletes, and you can remember those moments in time. But the impressions they make on even, someone 19 years old as they do for someone who's 79 years old.
It's crazy.
Well, that's you bring up Tyson, Jamie, all the time in this conversation. I was younger than 19 then, right? I was much younger, but yeah, that's the same type of, impressionable age. And that's one of the stop everything, drop everything moments.
Yeah. What was I, like 6, 7 or something, watching him box, and you remember every minute of it. It was like when Hurricane Hugo blew through here in 1989. People tell me all the time, well, how old were you? I'm like, I was like 4 or 5. Oh, you don't remember that? I'm like, oh no, let me tell you something. When Hurricane Hugo blows the doors off, you remember every damn thing about it. You could be 4 days old and you're going to remember it.
Yep.
Speaking of remembering, before I let you go, that I was thinking I have a whole book, guys. Hopefully y'all saved some of your stuff from the U.S. Women's Open a few years ago. I have all of the whole location sheets, all of our notes, daily prep stuff that we did, like all the badges and all the crap we wore around out there and all that stuff. That will always be one of my prized sports experiences because thank God for Meredith. And Scott too, but Scott, I give the nod to Meredith on this one because outside of a little prep leading up into it, knowing we were going to be out there for 7 days, I didn't know who anybody was. Meredith knew. We're walking down the course, and Meredith, Julie, good to see you. Hey, Nelly, looking good out there, And that was a lot of fun. So, man, this has been so cool the last few years hanging out with y'all.
That was one of my favorite memories to this day. And I was able to book Annika Sorenstam on our show, and I still have no idea how I did that. But that conversation is still one of my all-time favorites. And then getting to sit down with Julie Inkster, Brad Faxon. Cool. So many cool memories as your banner just fell.
I know. Hey, that's a good sign. It did that last year at the start of baseball season. I had my Braves up, and they won the World Series. So that's a good sign.
It had to happen.
Aaron said something about not looking good for your Braves this year.
Quick wit, man.
Well, here you go. It's not
smooth.
It's not looking good for the Nationals, so don't worry. We'll finish above the Nationals.
Very true. Yeah, they won't finish in last place. That's the good news. Yeah, that was cool, man. We were supposed to get Joe Buck, remember, and we couldn't get him.
Right.
Meredith she said exactly what I was going to say. We talked Brad Faxon, Julie Inkster, Beth Daniel, Annika Sorenstam. I mean, we talked about Annika Sorenstam, which it's still just. I mean, I've got goosebumps thinking about it. And everything that happened that week. I mean, from the funny parts, like us getting the phonetic spelling of everybody in the field and trying to figure that out. To the tree getting struck by lightning.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I didn't say anything that they had to bleep on air because I believe I was talking when that happened.
Yeah, you were.
And that was an unbelievable experience, and I guess it was all of our first rodeo. But fond memories for sure. And then we can't forget the Freshfields this past year, PGA Championship. So
I know you two really need to make sure y'all link up and try to keep doing stuff. It's a special group. You're both just incredible people, but you're so good at it. That tree. Do y'all remember when we got there the next morning and it was like nothing had happened?
Right.
They ground the whole oak. Darren, this oak tree was 400 years old.
Oh, it was a massive story. I remember following it. I mean, it was a massive. It was a national sports story because the U.S. Open going on, and this tree gets split in half, and then disappears.
40 yards away from us, Scott was just rambling on. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get away from the metal, and
rambling on as I'm known to do, in which I'm very good at, and that thing just. Bam. I mean, it was because, we're wearing those headsets and we're in that pavilion and it's loud in the pavilion with people talking, but you can't hear that because you have on the headset where you can only hear yourself. And we heard that crack and boom, even with that headset on. It was wild.
You guys I know people who have been electrocuted wearing headsets. Like all you guys are lucky.
Yeah. Well, and some doofus out there was like, we'll get the golf cart to pick you up and take you to the media tent. I said, you mean the big metal media tent over there with the floppy roof on it? Yeah, no.
Not happening.
Like, I'll stay right. If I'm going to die out here, I'm not going to run over there to die. I'll just do it right here.
This you could have had a free bottle of water as you went down, though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was amazing. Meredith and I think got to the course the next morning, Meredith, because you were parking at my house, right? And then we took the bus in. Yeah. And I remember looking over going, there's no way that they got rid of that tree like that overnight.
It was very Augusta National-like. Like,
that's a good call.
Illuminati.
You would have never known that there was a tree there the next morning. It was like, wait a minute.
That was incredible.
Incredible.
That whole week was so much fun. And, even working with guys that, I worked with them, a guy that I love dearly. We all do. Bobby Harton.
Yes.
And Luke and those guys. It was just a good team, and long hours, but a lot of fun. And those drinks were expensive, but they were good too. And that was great. Well, I mean, we're kind of at the end of it here. But we're all friends. Scott, I'll see you very soon. I'm gonna come out there and play golf and things like that. Meredith, I'll see you soon. Meredith, will you, if Darren will buy us 2 minutes here to go overboard here, can you tell people what you're doing in case people are interested in?
Sure. So I'm going to finish my amateur golf career first, defend a few championships that I won last year, and try to qualify for the U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur and defend the mixed event championship with my big brother. I think that'll be pretty special as one of my final events as an amateur. And then I'll move into golf instruction, actually. And the big launch will be later this year. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see when I do that big launch with the website. And I'll do an online course. So basically, a lot of people have reached out to me about getting golf lessons from me. And but their busy schedules and lives, you can't really do in-person lessons. And so I thought I'm going to create a virtual way to receive that online instruction in the form of an online course. And so it's more convenient. You can learn at your own pace and still get instruction from me in that way. So you can improve your game in the virtual way, in online instruction from me, kind of at your convenience. So you'll see there's a lot of irons at the fire, but that's going to be a big launch later this year.
Really looking forward to that.
Thank you.
So cool.
And I'll say to that, for anybody who is intimidated by getting golf lessons, that can be such a great way to do it, because a lot of times, I'll do my lessons face to face. I haven't jumped into that virtual world. And I mean, I think that's such an awesome space to take golf instruction. And obviously we've seen Meredith's golf swing. It's picture perfect. So she knows what she's talking about. But a lot of times I'll get people to come out for lessons and they're very nervous. They're very nervous to be there. It's not like a test. You're not going to pass or fail. I mean, you're coming to receive help. I'm not going to judge, and neither is Meredith going to judge if your swing's good or if you're bad. We're there to help. So, but if you are if you're struggling to get over the inertia for a golf lesson, I think that digital form is a great way to do it, because you can just film yourself and send it on, and then you're not there in person. You can even choose the best video. So I think that's an awesome idea, Meredith, and I'm going to send you my swing because I need some serious help.
Oh, sweet Lord. Here we go. I'd see like Luke here says, that sounds awesome. I need a virtual lesson. I've always wanted a golf lesson. All right, Luke, do us a favor. Go get a lesson from Scott and then get a virtual one from Meredith and tell us who's better. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. And then we factor that into the handicapping of our 2-on-2 here.
There we go.
Right? There you go.
Yeah, and then get one from me and Darren. And then we'll know how to pair this thing. I don't know. Just put it on the tee and whack it. I mean, I'm the amazing golf ball whacker guy. Isn't that what Happy Gilmore said? Just
great.
How hard can it be? Just put the ball in the hole. Okay. Well, seriously, we have had a blast, and I'm going to really miss doing this with both of you. Scott, it's been 6+ years, I think, and Meredith 3, and it has just been, I don't even know how else to explain it. It's been so much fun. I've known Meredith a long time, and Scotty, and I know Darren loves this segment because he loves golf, and he just gushes over the two of you. I'll let him say what he wants to say, but we can't thank you any more than how we're doing it now. It's meant a lot. I think people have enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see both of you soon.
Yeah. I'll back that up. It's fun. I like talking to you guys. I mean, the folks who come on, and we have a lot of really good guests who come on and bring the show a lot of what we can't. And there's good conversation, there's good insight and value, and I personally appreciate when it's delivered in a very good way. And both of you, even though it's not your primary job, you both do it very, very well. And I think I told Jamie that when I was listening when you guys did the Women's Open. You do it very well. So it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. And we'll obviously all stay in touch.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the opportunity to be a small part of the show and talk shop with the boys and all things Gamecocks as well. And I know, whatever you guys do, you're going to be super successful. You're both pros and gentlemen, and are first class. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come on the show.
Always, of course.
Yeah, I amen to that, Darren. I mean, you can always send me your dark horses of who's looking good this week. I'm always down to lose a little money, but I appreciate every Thursday. Like I was telling you, JB, I appreciate every Thursday. I know golf does not get the headlines and the buzz that NFL draft and NBA and baseball and all that type stuff. But, one of the things that hopefully we have been able to accomplish is just generate a little more interest, not only in the game of golf and how great it is, but people's own personal journeys and growth in the game of golf. And as a PGA professional, that is my main concern is growing the game and setting it up for years to come and for people that are going to outlive me. So, I'm always here. Stono Ferry, we plug it all the time. So y'all come out and see me. Let's tee it up. And if we ever need to get the band back together, I'm ready. I can put up my banners that are bound to fall and, be ready to go.
And win world championships.
That's right.
That's right.
Whenever I start my show, I'll be calling all of y'all to be contributors.
Yeah,
I'm there.
I'm happy to contribute to something.
Sure. Yeah, I would contribute. Absolutely. I don't know what I can contribute, but I will be there. If not to make everybody laugh when I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll be there. You know that. Yeah, man, it's been a blast. Thank you, Scott. I'll see you soon. StoneandFerryGolf.com, as we tell you every week, where you can book those tee times. Book them. And it's a beautiful time of the year to play golf, especially out there. Holy moly, 75. Stono Ferry, you come around the back nine, you get the breeze coming off the river and maybe blowing in your face, taking your ball out into the water. What could be better than that? Go into the bag, drop, hit. You know how it works.
That's when you film. That's when you get your buddy to film your swing and you send it to Meredith. So that next time you don't hit it in the river.
True.
Yeah.
What is that? It's the 14th, right? 14th over the water.
Yeah, 13, 14. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that well.
And save a tee time for all of us to go play.
Yeah. Are those oysters down there, Jamie? No, those are my balls. I just can't get to them. They've been there a while. Guys, God bless you. Thank you so much. See you soon, and we appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Thanks, guys. Love you. See you.
Later,
Scott
guys.
Glaze and Meredith Taylor wrapping us up 6 minutes past due on Thursday.
Yeah,
right.
We've gone long a time or two.
Yeah, it has happened before. So, all right. Well, we're out of here. Thank you to both of them. To Shane Beamer. Man, that's cool, man. Big tip of the cap to Steve Fink. I'll say it again tomorrow. I'm going to say it till the day I'm not on this earth anymore. Steve Fink is the best ID. He's SID. He's so good. He's so accommodating. He's so kind. And we really appreciate it. Thanks to Chad Holbrook and Cory McCartney. That was a who's who of guests today. More of that tomorrow with Derek Scott, Rafael Esparza, and Mike Morgan wrapping us up. And we can't wait to see all of you then at noon for the final time on the JB and Goldwater Show.